this video, we'll be explaining all breathing styles in Demon Slayer. There's a total of 14 unique breathing styles, and we're going to cover every single one, starting with the insect breathing. Insect breathing is a breathing style that mimics insects, specifically their lethal stings and movements, and replicates it with users' movements, technique, and abilities. Most known techniques and forms include stabbing, thrusting, and making shallow cuts with a specially made sword to inflict multiple wounds onto the intended target in order to inject various lethal wisteria-based poisons into them. This breathing style is the personal creation of Shinobu Kocho, who designed it to compensate for her lack of physical strength to behead a demon. Hence, this sword style can only be utilized by her and only using a unique katana with a needle-like tip, resembling an insect stinger in appearance and function. Insect breathing has 4 known techniques and forms at minimum. During the Natagomo Mountain arc in anime, Shinobu comes across one of the spider family demons. She leaps into the air and charges towards the opponent using butterfly dance and stings them multiple times with their blade to inject poison, successfully defeating the demon. Later on, when Shinobu fights against the upper rank 2, Doma, she uses 3 different forms of insect breathing. She charges at him using Dance of the Centipede, an attack with which the user uses their full speed to run a zigzag pattern that confuses their opponent in order to create an opening for them to directly stab their opponent's neck and inject poison to kill them. Doma noted that the sheer speed of this technique is strong enough to destroy an entire wooden bridge. With Doma being very tough to defeat, Shinobu puts all her hopes into Dance of the Dragonfly, a 6-strike attack with which the user aims to strike and inject their target with multiple doses of poison at the target's weak spots, such as the neck, heart, or torso, in order to kill them with a large dose of poison. Number 13. Flower breathing. Flower breathing is a breathing style derived from water breathing, used by the former flower Hashira Kane Kocho and her adoptive sister Kanao. Techniques from the flower breathing style tend to emulate very flexible and graceful movement, further showing the influence of the water breathing style during the development of this style. Most known techniques and forms are a combination of graceful attacks named after flowers and fruits that optimize the user's agility and flexibility with their weapon and body. This breathing style also enhances and utilizes one's vision, albeit at the possible cost of their eyesight. The techniques are mostly circular in motion and allow the user to appear graceful in their movements, as each attack flows naturally from one action to another. Each movement is also meant to attack as a subterfuge, with many movements appearing as feints to hide the true killing blow. Flower breathing has at least 7 techniques, including the final form. During Kanao's fight against Doma, she uses 4 different forms of flower breathing, with the most notable one being the final form, Equinoctial Vermilion Eye, a focusing technique that raises the user's kinetic vision to its maximum. While using this technique, the user perceives the world as if it were in slow motion. Usage of the technique, however, is highly dangerous, as the tremendous strain on the eye could cause blood vessels to rupture and lead to partial or complete blindness. This technique is still usable even if the user has only one fully functional eye. Number 12. Serpent breathing. Serpent breathing is a breathing style that mimics serpents and snakes, specifically their slithering motions. Most known techniques and forms focus on twisting and bending the sword. The same way a serpent slithers, the attacks are not direct and constantly meander, which can ultimately strike anywhere. Users of serpent breathing visualize themselves seemingly creating serpents that accompany them when unleashing its techniques. Since this technique is currently known to only be utilized by Obanai Iguro, it can only be used with a twisted blade that is similar in appearance to an Indonesian Kris sword, with the sword's shape modeled into the bodily structure of a snake. Serpent breathing has 5 known techniques, and we can see all 5 of them in Obanai's fight against Muzan. Number 11. Love breathing. Love breathing is a breathing style that is based on the emotion of love. Most techniques form a combination of whip-like attacks that utilize superhuman flexibility, dexterity, agility, and speed. This breathing style is the personal creation of Mitsuri Kanroji, made by altering the flame breathing that she learned from Rengoku. It takes advantage of her body's unique muscle density, which grants her inhuman strength, without making her physically bulky, to deliver fast and powerful blows while moving with incredible flexibility and agility. As it relies on her body's special composition, it is a style only she can use. It can also be assumed that this breathing style requires a whip-like katana. Love breathing has 6 techniques and forms, 4 of them which we see in the Swordsman Village arc, when Mitsuri battles against upper rank 4 Hantengu. She uses her 6th form, Cat-Legged Winds of Love, against Muzan, where she twirls upside down and creates multiple extending and slashing attacks before retracting it and extending it again, all within a very short amount of time. Number 10. Sound breathing. The only known user of this breathing style, Tengen Uzui, uses a technique developed using his superhuman sense of hearing called musical score, which involves Tengen reading his opponent's movements and deconstructing them into sound by analyzing their rhythm. Through this, he's able to take advantage of their openings to much greater effect by striking in a way similar to making the beat to a song. In conjunction with this, he uses small but powerful anti-demon bombs that are capable of damaging the bodies of upper-ranked demons. Since this combat style can only be used by Tengen, it can only be used with a specific set of weaponry, which is 2 gigantic Nichiren cleavers, each of which have a notch in the sharp ends of their blades, and they're held together at the hilt by a metal chain. His swords are said to have large amounts of explosive power, and it is stated that until Tengen's fight with upper rank 6, no one had ever survived a blow from them. Tengen Uzui plays major part in the Entertainment District arc, and during his fights with Upper Moon 6, Daki, and Gyutaro, we were able to see 3 different forms of his sound breathing. First form, roar. Tengen lifts his twin swords above his head and slams them down with great force. Fourth form, constant resounding slashes. Tengen holds his swords apart and spins them rapidly in conjunction with releasing his bombs. Fifth form, string performance. Tengen holds one of his swords with a reverse grip and spins the other using the chain that connects them. He couples this by also releasing numerous bombs to detonate. Number 9. Beast breathing. Beast breathing is a breathing style personally created and self-taught by Inosuke Hashibita after living in the mountains and fighting for survival. It is said to be distantly derived from wind breathing. The style enhances a user's sense of touch while being able to utilize several different techniques. Beast breathing mimics beasts and wild animals, specifically their unpredictable and wild nature, including movements, attacks, and senses, and replicates it. Most, if not all, known techniques and forms are simple, straightforward, yet wild, unpredictable, and animalistic movements and attacks. Beast breathing has 10 known techniques with an improvisation technique created during Inosuke's fight with Doma. His strongest form is arguably the 7th form, spatial awareness, where Inosuke utilizes his sense of touch to identify the position of enemies and their weaknesses by feeling small disturbances in the air. This technique was so strong that Inosuke could sense all the demons spread out through a whole mountain. Number 8.